Hey, what's up guys? In this video today, I actually want to talk about the exact resumes that I used to get into the Big Four consulting firms. And a little bit of background about myself. I was actually in cybersecurity advisory in the Big Four firms. I started out as an associate in 2014. Then I got promoted in 2016 to senior associate, and then subsequently to manager in 2018, which I do have another video called How I Got Promoted to Big Four Manager in 4 years. So with that said, guys, I actually have the resumes right here that I'm going to talk with you all about to show you exactly what I put on my resumes to get me in as an associate, as a senior associate at another firm, and as a manager at another firm as well, and the corresponding offer letters right here. So it's going to be a fun episode, hopefully, for you guys, and I hope you guys like the video if it helps you guys out. So let's get started. Okay, so now we're situated in such a great position to review resumes. So this is exactly my resume as it was when I entered Big Four as an associate in early 2014. Now, a couple of formatting things to begin with. 0.5 margins all around the resume, 14-point font for the bolded areas, summary education experience, this is all 14 size font, 11-point font for the rest of it. And then I have all of my dates, right, justified like so. And then I have the position and everything on one line, followed by the bullet points below. So looking at this resume, I always have a summary inside it, and all I want to show is this is who I am as a person. I did some internships, I did some other jobs to be able to say that I was doing some information security and solution implementation. So looking through here, someone looking at the resume will always look for, are you part of an organization? Especially in the Big Four, we like to look at, are you participating in something, and to what capacity are you doing it? Are you a leader? Are you a president? Are you a vice president? Or are you just a guy that's just getting by? And since I didn't really have much experience, remember guys, this is out of college. I put pretty much all my coursework right here. Information security, forensics, telecom, systems analysis. And of course, I put my honors as well because those are what make you stand out in college. So your activities, your education, your honors, those are things you want to list on your resume. Looking at the next section, we have the experience section. I was a student technician at the school that I actually studied at. And that was during my time at school. So you see that I graduated in June 2014. I wasn't playing around, I was actually working. I was doing some, system administration, systems help desk type of activities. Because I was doing technical support, workstation images, group policies, stuff like that, just to gain experience in the technology industry and cybersecurity, which is where I would ultimately end up. Aside from that, I got lucky because a big tech company was looking for a student developer evangelist type of role. And these were people that were trying to get applications into the Windows Store. So I actually had the chance to lead small teams of people as part of that. And then, of course, aside from education, aside from experience, I also had a volunteer opportunity just to show that I give back to the community, because people like to see that sort of stuff. They like to see that you're involved in your community, you're doing education well, you're basically like a well-rounded kind of individual. That's exactly what they're looking for. And then as part of school, I actually led the organization itself at one point as the president. I actually did an information technology competition. This is where I want to show that I knew how to budget, I knew how to lead people, and I knew how to get people connected to each other. Aside from that, the special skills are all things that I learned while in school. Of course, a lot of these might come from coursework and other projects that you guys might do. So all in all, guys, this is my resume entering Big Four as an associate in early 2014. So now with that in mind, the employment letter that came back, actually November 2013, yeah, this is actually late 2013 when I applied. When it came back to me, I actually got a salary of $65,000 and a bonus of $5,000 at that time. And I was ecstatic because at the time, cybersecurity was paying around that much, and I was like, okay, well, this is probably a good amount to start off with, and I'm probably gonna make decent raises going up from there. But all in all, that is the offer letter that I got, and this is the resume that I actually used for that job. Now, I want to fast forward a little bit to 2017. So now I have associate experience under my belt, and I was promoted to senior associate at the Big Four firm that I was working at. So now, remember in the previous summary, I mentioned that I had a couple years of experience, but now I decided, you know what, I need to be a little bit more humble because I have 3 years of real experience in the cybersecurity industry. So I put that accordingly right here. And I was a senior associate, and I was actually trying to be way more ambitious because I applied for a manager type position and then they rejected me outright. So I ended up saying, what if I lateral as a senior associate? That's what happened right here. So looking at my experience, this is all the work experience. All the school stuff shifted out of my paper at this point. And now I was leading work streams as a senior associate. I was managing like 2 or 3 team members and the offshore staff. That's what people like to look for, is you're leading work streams. That is what a senior associate should be doing well. They need to be doing things technically well, and they need to be leading people as well. That's what people like to see in senior associates. So all the points that I highlighted are things that would stand out to me if I was reading a resume like this. When I'm writing the resume, I write it objectively, saying, I did this action and it resulted in this kind of result. Because people like to see what did you do and how did that affect the companies that you were working with. So if you can show your impact, that is going to help greatly in your resumes going forward. I'm going to admit that the rest of it down below compared to my previous resume, well, yeah, there's not really much changes, but you could see like what's obvious and what isn't. I moved my education down and made it shorter. I made my special skills a lot larger. So all in all, if I take my early 2014 resume and compare it to my 2017 resume, my experience got a lot bigger, and then my education went from up here to down here. My special skills got a lot longer, and this position here I thought was still a bit relevant, so that could stay, especially since this was the only job that I was doing from that time frame up until that time frame right there. And as a result of this resume right here, the corresponding offer letter that I was able to get was this one right here. So this firm actually offered me $130,000, and that was in 2017 for a senior associate type position. So that is pretty much what happened. This was the outcome of writing this resume right here. I did get promoted to Big Four manager in 2018, but I wanted to see if I could break into a slightly different industry. So I was applying for jobs at the time to see if I could break in. And ultimately, I am in the position that I am now, which is outside the Big Four, but hopefully this helps people that are trying to apply for a manager type position. So now my experience is hiked up from 3 years on this resume to 5 years on this resume. And I'm saying explicitly, I'm looking for a cybersecurity manager position. I say that I'm fluent, across multiple industries. This really hasn't changed that much. But the experience here down below, what's really important is saying that you're leading things end to end. I led, and I say here the size of it, $1 million identity implementation and got subsequent project extensions. People want to see in your resume that because of the relationships that you've built, you're able to sell subsequent project extensions, you're able to sell more work, because ultimately manager level and above, part of the job is actually delivering the technical project, and the other part of it is being able to take your team and still be able to sell work to be able to utilize the rest of the staff going forward. So I start off with that. This is the highlight of my career right here, and then I follow that on with everything else. I can manage multiple streams on a project. That's a big one, because a senior associate's job is typically one work stream, and then a manager's job is the whole engagement. And then I also like to say exactly how much work I was able to sell, because once again, the firm is very interested in what you can sell. Aside from that, if we compare the 2017 resume to the 2019 resume, you could see that pretty much the wording is all about the leadership and all about the sales that you can do. And then of course, being able to turn around failing engagements. They want to be able to see that you're able to take a bad situation and make it better. So now I've felt comfortable enough that this position right here is not as relevant anymore. So I dropped a bullet point from this one. And then comparing this, everything else at the end is actually very similar to the previous resume. So as a result of this resume right here, the resulting job offer is actually this one. So this is what it is right here. I was hired as an advisory manager, which would start in April 2019, and they would pay me $150,000 a year with a sign-on bonus of $10,000, which I thought was pretty good, but at the time with the network and everything, I wanted to switch into a job that would give me that mergers and acquisitions type experience, which is why I ultimately left identity and access management, cybersecurity implementation type of work. But ultimately, guys, these are all the resumes that I have. So from manager to senior associate to associate, those are all of my resumes that I've used to get into these types of Big Four firms. So guys, I really hope this video helped you out. If it did, drop a like down below. Let me know what you want to see in future videos, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.